Welcome to Seldovia. I'm Allison, and this is my hometown. I've identified with the culture of this town for as long as I can remember. I feel like I'm an integral part of this community, not only because of family connections, but also because of common traditions and lifestyles that we choose to live here. My grandfather was the first man to land a plane on these beaches, which were once sandy shorelines. My father fished his fishing boat out of this harbor for many years, and I myself have chosen to raise my children here who are fourth generation Seldovians. I grew up hearing colorful stories about the characters who populated our old boardwalk town. I heard stories of boats and fishing adventures and misadventures, and I was able to sympathize with the story of how the 1964 Good Friday earthquake irreversibly changed our community forever. All of these stories were loaded with quirky but wise sayings and goofy nicknames that had stories in themselves. And each one of these stories echoed of a past culture that the storyteller clearly valued but was somehow vanishing from Seldovia. So I began seeing myself as a story keeper and curator, a writer with a mission of saving and preserving the memories of what this town once was. With the hope of keeping this unique culture alive, I have been collecting stories with the intention of passing them on in a book. Over the years, I have coordinated elder talking circles and recorded thousands of stories about hundreds of people who lived, loved, and shaped Seldovia. Through these stories and old photographs, I chose to explore how the loss of cultural customs and changes to the cultural canvas of a place can literally change the identity of a community and those who live there. Seldovia has become a place I have difficulty belonging to and identifying with in its modern manifestation. The traditions, nicknamed characters with crazy, memorable euphemisms, and hard-earned lifestyle choices are quickly fading from today's Seldovia. Our shorelines are bedazzled by huge summer homes. The population of our town has been in decline for decades as the fishing and logging industries have relocated. The regional logistics have changed since the Sterling Highway to Homer was constructed. Local employment opportunities are mainly office jobs and seasonal positions servicing visitors. Our year-round population is comprised of lucky and resourceful folks who have secured the few jobs that provide the city infrastructure, education, tribal nonprofit, and construction needs. We rely on summer visitors for our community's economic stability. Seldovia's identity has changed. I'm passionate about Seldovia's history. As I age, I realize that I will become part of this history. I'm concerned with how change has impacted the culture and identity of Seldovia, and urge residents to begin to ask how we can affect positive change while embracing and respecting continuity. Encompassing a more universal view of cultural preservation, each and every one of us can ask how we can participate and help to shape communities that successfully strike a balance between change and continuity. I reflected upon the transformation of these questions from focusing on the specific changes themselves to a more conceptual vision of what impacts these changes have on culture. I used research strategies that included viewing the stories I collect and the photos I cherish from the perspective of the intersection between cultural change and continuity. and I set out to write a poem to express my findings. I decided upon this after reading a quote on writer Lydia Yuknovich's writing workshop website. She explores liminality, which can be defined as a threshold or state of change in which boundaries are tested and destabilized. It is a fluid condition of becoming rather than being. Yuknovich reflects on the fertility of the liminal condition. During liminal periods of all kinds, social hierarchies may be reversed or temporarily dissolved. Continuity of tradition may become uncertain, and future outcomes, once taken for granted, may be thrown into doubt. The dissolution of order during liminality creates a fluid, malleable situation that enables new institutions and customs and identities to emerge. The liminal period that Seldovia is currently in provides a perfect opportunity for me to express this state and my experiences of it in poetry. When cultural underpinnings and societal impacts are considered in art, emotion is permitted to dominate the finished product. In most other research formats, omission of emotion is typical, as facts are the preferred vehicle of truth. I want to appeal to human and animistic reflexes as I attempt to convince readers of the necessity of the past in versions of the future. I want to make the most of this vulnerable place I find myself in, and use my explorations of it, at once dark and bright, secure and scary, comforting and anxious, to uncover the insights on what it means to respect and respond to culture. I hope you'll read my poem that resulted from my explorations of cultural liminality, how change and continuity affect culture. The Stone is a poem in which you probably will see that I found remembrance to be the element of necessity in culturally responsive communities. We can only bring life to themes like memory, respect, reverence, continuity, and responsive change by preserving our past.